your practice. It's a beautiful Monday morning. I hope you're well. Enjoy. So we'll start by grounding ourselves into our Tadasana posture, our mountain posture. Bring those feet nice and neatly together if you comfortably can, or a little bit separated if you need. Take your attention to the soles of the feet for a moment. Really build a nice even weight all the way through those feet. Notice where you favour. Is it one foot or the other, one side, one foot or the other, front or back. Keep the toes lovely and soft. And just rest on the ground. Not holding, not pushing, just resting. And we're enlivening the legs and engaging our balance, taking our awareness initially to that pelvic floor lift. Lower tummy then, in and up, engaging Uddiyana Bandha. Feeling that sense of lengthening through the spine, right to the crown of the head. Engaging Jalandhara Bandha with your Ujjayi breath if that's in your practice. So the shoulders roll back and down, arms lift and soft by your side. And breathe. Breathing is key. All the way through your practice. Deep in, deep out. Hear your breath. Feel it moving through the body. Just arrive on that floor. Arrive in your body. Allowing everything else to just drift away. It's time for you. When you're ready, take those fingers and interlace them, bringing the knuckles underneath a good square chin. The wrists are together, the elbows if you can, and no forcing, no strain. And when you're ready, we're inhaling and exhaling. Deeply in and then out through the mouth, releasing the head. In through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, out through the mouth as we soften the head. Deep, smooth waves of breath. Finding a rhythm that works for you, a little faster or a little slower, depending on how your breath wants to move today. Let the breath move the body. Remember, we're never pausing, we're never straining, we're just exploring that range of movement. Feeling gradually those elbows coming a little higher as the shoulders loosen. But never forcing it. 3 more rounds. And 2. And a final one. And in your own time, when you finish your cycle, release. Bring back to that Tadasana. And notice how's the body feeling. Are you getting a little bit of a surge of warmth? Come back to the breath. And then we have 3 sets, warming up our spine. Side bends, back bends, front bends. Take it easy, listen to your breath. Hands to the right. Inhale, sweeping arms wide and high. Glue the palms together, gaze point forward. Zip up through the core, lengthen through the waist, and come up and over to your right. Keeping your gaze point straight ahead of you, keeping your shoulders beautifully square, keeping a little lift in the thighs, and rooted into the feet. Then 3 deep breaths, and we soften a little further. Feel the space on the inhale, explore a little deeper. Arms are planted together, bend the arms if you need, or glide them straighter. And inhaling your way back up to center. Root to the floor and lengthen on the inhale, up and over to your left on the exhale. Feeling that stretch down the right hand side of the body. Keeping a little lift in the thighs if you comfortably can. The back is engaged, beautiful and low. 3. Explore Just exploring on this first set and inhaling your way back up to centre. Then find that centre and come into our first back bend. Soft knees, relax the head back, push the hips forward and open through the front of the body. Feel the chest lift high, softening back, dump into the lower back, but lift the tummy and the chest up and forward. 3, soft in the knees. 2, shoulders back and down. 1, hips forward. And then inhaling back to centre. Lift and lengthen and fold into our front bend. Using the hands to support on the thighs on the way down. Making sure you're bending the knees as much as you need to lower the bladder, stomach, ribs, and eventually chest all the way down into those thighs. Let the head go. And breathe. If you're feeling a bit wobbly, you can keep those hands to the floor. If you're feeling comfortable, take them around the ankle. 3, guiding the legs a millimetre straighter. 2, the floor is lifted, tummy strong. 1 more breath, let go of that head, shoulders back and down as you lengthen the spine. And breathing your way back up, palms together, core strong, push to the ground and lift. And release those arms straight back in to the prayer position. For the second set, inhale, sweeping arms wide and high. Plant the palms together, gaze point forward. Lift on the inhale and exhale over to your right. Checking in with your alignment as you set up, making sure there's no twisting through the hips or rounding through the shoulders. As we go for those 3 deep breaths, feel that space as you inhale deeply, exhale, tummy strong. 2, pressing palms if you can. 1 more, lift the thighs, push to the feet, lengthen, and inhale back to centre. Deep wave of breath as we grow a little taller and up and over to your left. Feeding down the right hand side of the body, keeping the gaze point straight ahead of you. Everything beautifully in line as we tick over. Then go for our 3. Inhale, feel that space being created. Exhale, move gently into that space. 2, root down into that right heel. 1 more breath as you press away into that right hip. And inhaling your way back up to centre. Coming into our back bend once again. Soft knees, soft neck. Remember, back bends are all about opening through the front of the body. And breathe. Breathe. Feel the stretch through the front of the hips. 2, soften into the spine. 1 more, reach out through those fingertips. And inhale gently back up to centre, lengthening through. And as you exhale, fold forward. Use the hands on the thighs if you need to. Gluing the body down to those legs. And letting the head loosely soften. And gently pressing into the floor to take up the slack on the hamstrings. If it becomes too much, bend the knees a little further. If it's easing and softening and opening, then press a little harder into the feet to find your edge once again. 3, 2, check in with the shoulders and the neck. 1 more, soften into the hips as you pull down with the tummy. And releasing, palms together, push to the floor, lift. And release those arms. Coming into our third and final set. Inhale, sweeping high to the ceiling, plant the palms together, gaze point forward. Zip up and lengthen. You can interlace thumbs or fingers if you like, but keep them soft. Keep the shoulders square, keep the hips square and the tummy strong. 3 huge waves as we explore that little bit deeper. Everything in line as we lift those thighs. 1 more breath as you extend out through the arms, longer through the spine, push into the left hip, and inhaling back to centre. Feel that breath lift and lengthen through the core and up and over to the side. Stretching down the right hand side of the body. Breathing deep and easy, your shower breath if you can. But hear that breath moving in and out of the body. 3. Press away into that right hip. 2. Long through the back of the neck, press the palms. 1 more breath. And inhaling back up to center. Coming into our final back bend. Softening the knees, release the head back, push the hips forward as you trace that line across the ceiling. Remember, at any point if you need to, take the hands to the hips to support the low back. Feel the opening through the front of the body. Just 2 more breaths. Softening back into it. For 1. Then inhaling your way back to center. Lift and lengthen and hinge forward. Keep a sense of length and space through the front of the body as you bring it down onto those thighs. The knees as bent as you need them to be. Then we can simply glide and straighten as those hips and hamstrings allow. Taking up the slack, taking you to that edge point. Then you can feel a good stretch, but you know it's not too intense, you know it's not too far. And breathe. 3. Soft toes, even weight through the feet. 2. Press into the heels, soften into the neck. For 1. Shoulders back and down as you pull down with those banners. And releasing back to center. And relax those arms. Great stuff. So we've got some nice warmth building in the body now. We're going to take feet. Our hips width distance apart for our nice parallel feet for our walking postures. So lifting the toes, we take the hands to shoulders, shoulders back and down. Zip up through the core and squat down as if you're into a chair just there behind you. Keep your gaze pointing straight ahead, keep breathing as we tick over. Keep the toes lifting as the weight comes back into the heels. For 3. Bend a little deeper into the knees. 2, tummy strong, lift the chest forward, shoulders back and down. For 1 more breath. And releasing. Then coming high up onto toes and forefeet. Lift those heels as high as you can. Keep the band strong and use a fixed gaze point. Helping that balance. Bending into the knees and keeping those heels lifting as much as you can, eventually locking out those ankles. 3, shoulders back and down as we bend the knees. 2, lift the heels a little higher, work those calves. For 1, and releasing. There, bring your feet closer together as we take hands and knees down to the floor. Spread the toes and sit tailbone back towards those heels. Tummy strong, shoulders back and down. If you need a little pressure into the hands, on the thighs, or the floor, then feel free. Never go to pain or tension. You can lean so far back that the knees become light and then come into pure balance. Just 2 more, softening and releasing into it. For 1. Then gently coming forward, hands to the floor, push the knees off. Lengthen through the spine as you drop the body onto the thighs and relax that head into a gap between the knees. Feel the breath expanding into the back of the body and let go of the head as completely as you can. Keep the fingers a light touch to the floor if you need. Eventually, when you find that balance, take the hands around the shins. Just 2 more breaths. Encourage the heels a little lower to the floor. 1 more. Let go into the neck and the shoulders, sinking back into the tailbone. And releasing. Coming up nice and slowly for anyone who needs to, or slow to 90, and firing into that leap if you wish. Deep breath there, then we'll go for our second set. Every Everything beautifully parallel, on the heels, knees and hips perfectly in line. As we lift the toes, feel the weight shifting back into the heels. Zip up through the bangers and exhale, squat down into that chair. Keep a sense of lift through the front of the body. Sit down into that tailbone, shoulders back and down. Make sure everything's staying beautifully parallel. For 3 deep breaths as we bend a little deeper. For 2 as we lift those toes. 1 more and releasing. Coming high onto toes and forefeet. Imagine the crown and the head lifting to the sky as we sit down through the tailbone. Bending the knees, everything still staying beautifully aligned. Lift the heels as high as you comfortably can. For 3, pushing that edge a little further. For 2, shoulders down, lift those heels. For 1, strong tummy, and releasing. Great start. Bringing your feet back together. Hands and knees to the floor, drop straight down into that pure balancing if you're comfortable with it. Try not to come into pure balancing just because it's easier on the toes. Make sure you put the work into the toes first. And if you can lean so far back, then we're balancing the knees squeezed together, the tummy strong, the gaze onto the floor. It's all then in the movement of the pelvis. Just 1 breath and releasing. Hands to the ground as we push the knees up, lengthen through the torso and drop the body onto the thighs. Allowing the chin to soften towards the collarbone and encouraging the heels closer to the ground. And most importantly, breathe. Notice the sensations in the body. Notice where can I release a little bit more. Feel expansion and softening and lengthening all the way through the back of the body, softening into hips and knees and ankles. 1 more. And releasing, coming nice and slowly up. If you need to, or slow to 90 and then into that leap, if you wish. Feel free to have a little sip of water if you need to. And then we're going for our eagle. Garudasana. Finding your Tadasana, finding your breath. Bring the hands to prayer. Inhale, sweeping the arms wide. Exhale, left elbow underneath the right. Finding a bind in front of the face, shoulders back and down, zip up through the core. Breathe that left knee off the ground. Strong tummy as we lean forward and bend down into the standing leg. If it's hard to bend the leg, then lean forward a little further if you wish, taking the left leg across whenever you feel ready. Again, you're using the drusti, the gaze point, to keep that focused point of vision, helping with the balance. For 3, squeeze the thighs together, lift the tummy. 2, shoulders back and down, elbows towards the knee. 1 more, and releasing, arms wide, and down. Second side. Inhaling wide, exhale right elbow underneath the left. Bind in front of the face, whether you're grabbing the wrist or the thumb or the palms together, it's directly in front of your nose as the beak of your ear. Right leg lifts as we lean forward and bend as deep as you can into that left leg. Take the upper leg over when you're ready. If you can, the toes find that little hook at the back of the ankle. Square the hips, softening shoulders for 3 deep breaths as we bend a little deeper into the left leg. Hips are being pulled to so twist them back to the right. One more breath, tummy strong, shoulders soft, and releasing arms wide, and down. And coming into our second set. Hands to prayer. Inhale, sweeping wide. Exhale, left elbow under the right. Shoulders back and down as we step up through the corner. Breathe that left knee high. Moving always with your breath. Keeping your adjusted gaze point straight ahead. That left leg comes up and over when you're ready. Feel how those hips being pulled to the right. Twist them back to the left. We're pushing the whole of that left femur back into the hip. Square. 3. Bend the knee a little bit. 2. Lift through the core. 1. Breath. And release. Final set. Final side. Inhale wide. Exhale right elbow. Swings under the left. Shoulders back and down. Zip up through the core. Right knee lifts. Sit down into a chair. Keeping the tummy strong and your back straight. The gaze points straight ahead. Or if you lean forward a lot, you can feel like your neck's arching, then change your gaze point to the floor. Squeeze the thighs together. Square through the hips. Breathe. Sit down a little deeper. 2. Lift the pelvic floor, tummy in and up. 1. Breath. And releasing wide and down. Fantastic. We finished warming up. Excuse me for a moment. I'm going to put the feet on here. Dropping quite quickly again. A little bit chilly this morning. At least no frost here, where I was at least. So, a little breathing exercise next before we come into our big 3 single leg standing posture. Feel free to do this standing if you know you're confident with it and don't get dizzy. Otherwise, sitting is fine also. Whatever sitting position is comfortable to give you a nice and straight spine. We're going to take a deep wave of inhale, a deep slow exhale, and then our final breath in, holding, lifting, lengthening. Really work those back. It's a nice place to look, to play around with that shallow breath if you wish. So when you're ready, broad exhaling together, and then beginning to inhale slowly and gently. Pulling deeper and wider and fuller until we get all the way up to the top, and then exhaling slow and steady, pacing yourself, that narrowing of the throat if you can, tummy kicking in, squeezing out that air as deeply as you can, and then inhaling again. Try and resist the natural urge to gasp the breath in, but pacing, filling into the front of the lungs, the back of the lungs, the side of the lungs, the last set to the top, and then holding the breath there, chin's tucked in slightly up, you're sitting off the top, shoulders roll up, back and down, arms loose and soft by your side. Pelvic floor is strongly lifted, tummy button in and up, release if you start to see stars, please. Otherwise, lengthen through the waist, long through the neck, crown to the ceiling, and release. And let all that breath out, and take a little moment there. Just listening to that breath, listening to those sensations. Before we prepare ourselves for our big 3 single leg standing posture. So the first of these, of course, is standing head to knee. Please don't feel like you have to kick forward. Listen to what's going on in your body today. So standing beautifully, breathing beautifully, winding up to that side. Then raising first of all the right leg off the ground, strong rooted into the left foot, strong interlacing of the fingers, nice and high up on that right knee. Hips are square, spine is lengthened, bands are strong as we squeeze the knee a little higher to the chest. Do feel free to stay here for the first set in particular, but if the knee's high and you want to go further, you can walk those hands down towards the foot, eventually hooking up underneath that forefoot. Inhale, straighten back up. Exhale, kicking forward if that's you today. Don't worry if the leg doesn't go straight. Just explore its edge. 3. Lifting the knee in and up with your vertical. 2. Everybody lift the standing forward. 1. Lengthen through the spine. And release. Bending, straightening, and letting go of that. After breath there, then shifting to the left side. Raising that left knee off the ground. Breathing it in and up. The spine is lengthening. The standing leg is rooted and strong and lifted. If the knees high to the chest, walk the hands down one at a time. Each time you can squeeze in and up a little more until you reach that forward. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, kicking out. Keep the power in the arms. Keep a little bend in those arms, even if you're wishing they were stronger. 3. Everyone lift the standing forward. 2. Shoulders back and down, power in the belly. 1. And releasing back to center. Good breath there. Then deep out. And second set. Breathing that right knee high. Hold your ground on the inhales, feel the space. Exhale, exploring a little deeper. If you're comfortable there, walking down towards that foot. Making sure you change the gaze point to the floor. Inhale, straighten up. Exhale, kick forward. Listen to that breath. In, deep out. 3. Press into the floor as we lift the standing forward. 2. Shoulders back and down. Power in the biceps. Power in the belly. 1 more. Lengthen through that spine. And releasing, bending, straightening, and letting go. 5 set. Final side. The left knee lifts. Interlace the fingers nice and strongly. High up on that standing leg. Remember, we're pressing in with the heels of the palms, so you're not taking all the strain on the fingers. Forearms are working strongly, the biceps are working strongly, the shoulders are back and down, the power's in the belly. If you walk down and hooked up with that foot, inhale, straighten, exhale, kick forward. Everybody, lift that standing forward as we settle into it for 3. Deep in, shoulders back and down along the spine. 2, soften into the hip as you lengthen through that spine. 1 more breath. And releasing, bend the leg, straighten back up. And release the foot to the floor. Well done indeed. Have a little sip on the water if you need one. And then we'll go second single leg standing. And through that posture, which is ultimately a forward fold with a standing back bend. So we're whipping that right foot back first of all, round the foot, the arch of the foot, or the low ankle, eventually the low shin. Knees come together, arm high, lift and lengthen through the core, and then as you exhale, start to push the knee out behind you, allow the body to tilt forward gently, just till you feel the edge in your hamstring. Taking over there, finding your edge, breathing deep. And 3 huge breaths as you power up and back into the right leg. 2, push to the floor as you lift to the sky. 1 more breath. And releasing back to center. In, deep out. And whipping that left foot back. Grab the outside of the foot if you wish. Or if you want to go for the inside, make sure your elbows tucked into your waist, your thumb behind you. Opening through the front of the chest and the shoulder, thigh, the hip, and listening to that. 3, power back into that right leg. 2, lift up through the front of the body. 1 more, gaze point high, press up through those toes, and releasing back to center. Let go of the foot. In, deep out. Remembering we're gently pushing our edge. We're never forcing or straining or working till we can't do any more and we're going to faint. So if you feel you need a rest at any point, please take one, or just back off a little bit on the second set. If you're going for it, if you're really feeling it today, then really use that energy and explore your edges further. The right foot's coming back once again. Knees to touch, arm high. Feel the space already through the front of the body. So we take the gaze point high. Inhale that space. Exhale, push back into the knee. We want the knee to come straight back behind you, not out to the side, raising the hip. That will knock you off balance. But square through the hips, length through the spine, ticking over there. And then 3 deep breaths. Feel the space on the inhale, kicking into the leg on the exhale. Keep the left arm nice and high, keep space through the neck, soften into the spine. 1 more breath, strong standing leg as you power that left leg, right leg high, and releasing back to center. One set, final side. The left leg moves back. The right arm comes high. The knees come to touch. And breathe. Feel the chest lifting up and forward as you inhale. Push the knee back. Pressing the back top of the foot into the steely grip of those fingers. As you explore coming forward, check what's happening in the hamstrings and that standing leg. You've reached your edge, don't go any further, don't let that leg bend. 3 deep breaths now as you push up into that leg. 2, lift the tummy, lift the chest up and forward. 1 more breath, kick up into those toes, and releasing back to center. Beautiful stuff. Come back to your Tadasana for a moment. Back to your breath. As we come into the T or scales posture. The hands spread, shoulders soft. Feel that straight line through the body. Inhale, sweeping wide, palms together. Gaze point forward. Zip up through the core. And set that right foot forward, shifting the weight into that foot until we start to feel the raise in the left leg. Tummy is strong, arms stay high where it is if you can, keeping a nice straight line all the way through the body. If it's too much on the lower back, you can take hands to the hips, or use those airplane arms if you wish, just gently exploring your way into it. 3, tummy strong, lift through the core. 2, lift that standing leg. 1, breath, and releasing back to center. Gaze point forward as we inhale deeply, exhale, that left foot steps forward. Shift the weight into that foot. Raising into the right, gradually coming around the dial. If you're setting the T, make sure you're nice and square with those hips. If you're not, don't worry, think about lengthening through the spine wherever you are. 3, lift the standing hold. 2, square hips, shoulders back and down. 1 more breath, tummy strong, and releasing back to center. And relax those arms. And breathe. Soften into the shoulders, just notice anywhere in the body that might be holding residual tension. So you can let it go as much as possible. Feel that heart rate gently softening. through your hamstrings. Inhale, sweeping arms wide and high. Glue the palms together, gaze point forward. Zip up through the core and set the right foot forward. Feel that lift in the back leg, extending the legs going forward, checking in with the hips. If you're nailing that T with nice square hips, then we can go further. Fingertips eventually become palms. Keep that raised leg nice and high as we peel the body down towards the thigh. Breathe. Left hand, right hand first onto that right ankle for 2 and 1. And releasing. Find a straight line through the body, shoulders back and down. Listen to the breath. Deep wave of inhale, exhale, the left steps forward. And strong and confidently on that left leg until the right leg raises. Keep that straight line all the way through, checking with the hips. If you're nailing the T. Only come further when you can keep that standing leg strong and lifted. And it's left hand first onto that left ankle if you're going for it. Otherwise, just work where it's right for you today. Breathe. Tummy strong. 2. Lengthen through the spine. For 1. Raise that right leg. And releasing back to center. And let go of those arms. Well done indeed. And now over. So next we are nice and second down onto 2 feet. Starting with our wide. You've got a good root into your foundation. If you're slippy at all, then come a little closer. If you don't feel any singing in the inner thighs, maybe it's going a little more. We don't want the heels to be any further in than the little toes. See if you can get them nice and wide. When you're ready, inhaling wide, core strong. Hands down onto the thighs, keep the space and length through the front of the body. Keep those hands hinge forward into the hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Shoulders back and down. Wrinkling the spine. Soften the shoulders, even if the arms are working strongly. You're hunching the shoulders towards the ears, they're back and down. Continue to wrinkle that spine a little. 3 deep breaths, soften and surrender into the posture. 2, check the head is loose. Exploring that length all the way through the spine. 1 more breath. And inhaling back to center. If you need to narrow the legs or bend the knees a little on the way back up, feel free. And release. You can stay wide with the feet, or you can bring them back to center for a moment if you like. And then setting up for a second set. Maybe this time go a little bit wider if your head is yet to reach the floor, or if your head is on the ground, come a little narrow. And to breath. Inhale wide, feel that space. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Each inhale, hold the ground, feel the ribs lift away from the hips. And exhale, pulling forward the tummy, exploring further. 3 deep breaths here. Wrinkle that spine a little longer. 2, check in where the weight is placed in the feet. We want it nice. Right up to center. And release. Great start. So next we're coming into our side angle stretch. This one, a wide stance again. Maybe as wide, maybe not. See what happens. See what's right for you. Hands to back. We're aiming eventually for wrists with distance. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, bend that knee over the foot. Zip up through the core. Keep the body upright for a moment. Feel that stretch through the straight leg and then windmill down. Onto your own side. Sorry, I've been mirroring you all the way through. So hopefully we're doing it together from your perspective. This time. So there we go. The left arm is reaching towards the ceiling. And the elbow is straightening that arm. Just one more breath. Lengthening through. Then push the ground away back to centre. Exhale, arms to shoulder. Inhale, turn the left foot out. Exhale, bend into that knee. When you're down, when you're ready, you can fold that left arm and rest it on the thigh. Or if you're up for straightening it, there's no weight through those fingertips. We're just pressing in with the elbow to the side of the knee. 2, reach for the ceiling, reach for the toe. 1, press into the elbow, lift through the core, and power back to centre. And release. Again, feel free to stay wide if you comfortably can. We'll come back to centre. If you like to bring those hips back into neutral and find your Tadasana for a moment. Then we'll go for a second set. This time, of course, we're taking the top arm over, extending that side ankle stretch. Inhale, scoop high. Exhale to shoulder. Inhale, turn that right foot out. Exhale, bend into the knee. Zip up through the core. And moving down when you're ready. Taking that left arm over this time. Really being the same as you were last time, or exploring a little deeper with that right hand. Or if you can reach the floor on the outside of the foot, then do so, but trying to drop left shoulder. Keep space through the front of the body. Shoulders snap for 1, more breath. Then push the ground away. Back to center. Inhale, lift. Exhale to shoulder. Inhale, turn the left foot out. Bend into that knee. Zip up through the core and windmill down. Right arm this time coming over. Shoulders squared. Elbow on top. In front or maybe behind that knee. Keep that space and opening all the way down the right hand side of the body. 3. Lift the pelvic floor. 2, tummy strong, shoulders stacked. 1, up and back with that right rib cage. And releasing. Back to center. And relax those arms. Finding your Tadasana. Coming back to your breath. Grab a sip of water if you need to. And then we're coming a little bit closer together with our feet. Finding feet at about elbow distance apart. Hands come to prayer for our revolved triangle. Inhale, sweeping up to the sky. Gaze point forward, shoulders back and down. Short edge of your mat. Both legs are lifted and strong. As we inhale, look high. Exhale, fold forward. Keep your hips square. Leaving that left hand pressing strongly into the right leg. The right leg strong and straight. Spine is lengthening with the length of your yoga mat. And release the right arm away if you wish. Perpendicular to your mat. 3 breaths. And 2, lengthen on the inhale, rotate on the exhale. 1 more. And release the hands back together, push and lift. Centering the feet, turn the right foot in and the left foot
Square the hips, checking that you're on train tracks rather than a tightrope. Inhale, look high, lift the kneecaps and thighs, and exhale, fold forward. Hands pressing strongly into that strong, lifted, straight left leg. This helps to support the spine. Explore as far down as works for you. Lengthening the length of your spine along the length of your mat before we release the left hand away. 3, 2, elongate on the inhale, rotating on the exhale, and release the hands back together, push to the ground, and release. And bringing your hands behind you for the elbows, or if you can, that prayer position in between the shoulder blades. And inhale, the left foot inwards, the right foot out. Inhale, look high. Exhale, bend that front leg and elongate the body over the thigh. Dropping the head, the nose softening towards the knees. You release into neck and shoulders and gradually glide the front foot a little bit further straight, but only to your edge. The back leg lifted and strong, rooted into the heel. 3, slowly, bringing you back to center. And the right foot in and the left foot out, square the hips to the short edge of your mat. Inhale high, exhale, bend that left leg. As you lengthen the body down over the thigh. Once you get there, soften the head, dropping the nose towards the knee. If the body is not coming onto the thighs yet, use the hands or forearms or the back, wherever you are, so you can work into softening into that hip with supporting the spine. 3 breaths, lift the back quad. 2, glide the leg a little straighter. 1 more. And push the ground away. Back to center. And release those hands. A little bit of shake out. Our final 2 standing postures. The first of which is Utkatasana, a fierce posture. So hands to pray. Inhale, zip up through the core, tummy strong. Exhale, bend the knees as you sit down deep. Imagine there's a chair behind you, squeeze the knees together, the ankles and the thighs as well if you like, but make sure you're engaging the balance. Inhale, sweep the arms wide and high, the tummy is strongly drawn into the spine, really supporting that low back. 3, reach high with the fingertips. 2, sit up. 1 breath. And release. Feel that strongly in the low back, have a little round forward. Make sure you're using that core strength to support that girdle of strength around the low back. And then finally our tree. When you're ready, we're lifting the right leg off the ground. You could just come into the inside of the leg if you're comfortable there. Or if you've got nice open hips and you're able today, we can bring the foot onto the opposite thigh and hold it there with the hand for as long as you need to. Allowing that knee to drop down and back as we release into the hip. The tailbone is extending towards the ground, the tummy strong, the spine to the sky. 3, use your gaze point. For 2, lift those bands. For 1, soften the shoulders and releasing back to center before we let go of that leg. And shifting to the other side. As we raise that left leg off the ground, we can come just into the inside of the thigh or the calf, or if you're comfortable there, opening a little deeper into the hip as we bring the foot onto the front of the thigh. Support with one hand for as long as you need to. Eventually you can take both hands off into the prayer position. You might find even if you normally do let go in the heat of the studio, that's a little trickier at home if you haven't got quite the same warmth either into the hip or the stickiness of that foot. See what happens, support it if you need. Just 2 more breaths. Lift through the core, prayer to the ceiling. 2, shoulders back and down. 1, and releasing. Knee back to centre before we let go, so the knees never twisting. And there we are, we've done our standings. We're now down on the floor. A little bit of blast of the heat as it cools down here. So, lying onto your backs. Not normally a problem at this stage in our practice. A little moment of as you let the body be received by the breath. Then we're bringing both knees up together. Lift the hips for a moment if you like, so feel that lengthening in the lower back. And then interlace the fingers around those knees, drawing them down closer to the chest. If you comfortably can, feel free to cup the opposite elbow, but not if it means you're rounding, just keeping as much of the back of the body on the floor. Lift the banders, soften into the hips. 2, shoulders back and down through the tailbone. 1 more breath, and releasing that pressure. Then coming into our sit-up and forward fold. Feet together, arms above the head, raise the legs if you want a little more momentum today. Inhale and hold that breath until you're upright. And then side to side as you let go of that breath and release into the hips. If the tailbone's tucked under, keep the hands behind you for support. Or if you're comfortable, lifting up into that staff posture, and you can move forward with those hands. Feet are as close together as you can. Power of the floor is lifted. Soften into the backs of the knees. Make sure the legs are not bending. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lengthen more with the lower tongue. You're reaching the ankles comfortably. Maybe you want to fall back on the forefeet. If the soles of the feet are inclined to want towards each other, pull back on the outside of the feet. 3 breaths. Soften the shoulders. Lift the back. 2, release consciously into the backs of the knees, softening into the breath. 1 more breath, exploring a bit deeper, and releasing. And then we're bending our knees as we find our boat posture. So feel free to keep those hands supporting the backs of the thighs all the way through if you need to. Just consciously lift that core. If you comfortably can, then letting go of those hands, and then exploring gliding the legs straight into your edge today. 3, 2, 1, then crossing the legs and lifting. Second set. Shoulders back and down, engage that core. Never forget to breathe. 3, out through fingers, out through toes. 2, spread them if you prefer. 1, crossing and lifting. Final set. Exactly the same again. Or if you're up for it today, holding the heels as we lift those legs up and out in front of you. Shoulders back and down, lengthen through the spine. Lift the banders. 3, 2, 1, and release, cross and lift, and if you feel that strongly in the front hip, a little round forward to release into those hips before we come onto our fronts. onto your front for some strong back work. Take it nice and gently if you need to. Or you just want to sit out for a moment if you wish for any reason. Or if you're getting absolutely on fire, then go for it 100%. Chin is square, feet are together, tops of the toes and feet stay down on the ground. Inhale deeply, exhale, press the pubic bone to the ground so you lift the chest up and forward. Looking out in front of you, don't overstrain the neck, but look high with the eyes. 3, 2, strong legs, lifted core and releasing that down. Relax just for a breath. Then second set. Fingertips directly underneath the shoulders, elbows tucked in. Inhale deeply, exhale, push the hips to the ground as you lift up. Re-breath as you press the toes to the floor, lifting the knees if you like. 2, shoulders back and down, up and out of the elbows. 1 more breath, and releasing down to the ground. Turn your head to one side, allow your heels to drop away from each other. And relax into the floor for a moment. And then we're coming into standing lunge. So palms are facing down to the floor, arms are like wings beside you, about 45 degrees away from the body. Let the feet to hip width distance if you wish. Inhale deeply, exhale, lifting legs and arms and torso this time. Pressing the hips to the floor, hyperextending the legs, shoulders back and down. 3, look high with the eyes, but minding the neck, long rather than lift. 2, raise those thighs a little higher from the ground. 1, and releasing that down to the floor for a moment. Deep breath there, second set. Stay with the arms there if you like, we'll change them to the super person posture if you wish. Deep wave of inhale, exhale, lift the leg. Hold your ground on the inhale, explore a little deeper as you exhale. 3, hyperextend those legs. 2, point out through fingers and toes. 1, lift those thighs and release into the floor, setting your head to the opposite side to last time. And relax your arms by your side. Then when you're ready, we're finding our feet for Dharasana, the bow posture. Knees this time can be nice and wide apart, having to soften it on the back, or if you've got a good pronounced rocking bow, bring them a little closer together if you wish. And a deep wave of inhale, exhale, press the hips into the ground, push the feet back, lift through the thighs and the knees, arms straight, shoulders back and down. 3, steady grip of the hands. 2, kicking back into those legs. 1 more, toes towards the ceiling, and releasing back to the floor. Start for a moment, and breathe. And if you wish, a second set, a final leg of effort of the session. Really powerful breath. Inhale deeply, push the pubic bone to the ground. Feel the space in the front of the thighs, and the hips, and the tummy, and the chest. Looking high with the eyes. Rocking if you wish for 3, 2, 1, and release. Softening back down to the ground for a moment. Listening to that heart. ready, you can stay there for as long as you need. When you're ready, lifting back up. Coming to the last of our back bends. Recline here. So here we're taking the knees nice and wide. If it's alright with your knees today, we're separating the feet. Sit down to the floor, or as close as you can to the floor, in between those hips. If you're still okay there, the hands come behind, we drop the head back, and we're softening back towards the elbows. That might be your edge today, that might be your edge today, it doesn't matter at all. You're in control with the bending of those arms. If that's still nice and easy, bring the shoulders to the ground and line the elbows above the head. And breathe. If it's too much, back off a little. Find the right place for you to be working today. It's easy, go a little further. One more breath, soften into that space through the front of the body. Down through the tailbone, long through the spine. And slowly and gently releasing when you're ready. Putting back up to center. And we'll go into another sit-up and forward fold. Take hands to all those backwards. So stay seated if you prefer, or lying onto your back. Raising legs or out in front of you on the floor. Inhale deeply. Fire the hands forward. And exhale onto the right. Rocking the buttocks from side to side. Find your edge. Sometimes it feels a little bit hard in this second forward fold because we've been doing all those back bends. Just give yourself a little bit longer, ease your way into it. You're going to lift through the front of the body, going forward with the tummy. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, exploring deeper, softening the backs of the knees towards the floor. Within, deep out to your shoulders, then rising towards the ears, then back and down instead. One breath. And gently back off for a moment when you're right on your edge. And we're going to keep those legs nice and strong and straight. We're going to push the heels down into the ground as hard as you possibly can, wherever you are. Doesn't matter where you are, push those legs into the floor as hard as you possibly can. 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, digging holes into the ground for 1, then relax the legs and see if you can extend the leg around. Have the breath there, exploring into that extra space, and releasing. And then we're coming into our nice soft finishing sequence. So make sure you're nice and hydrated if you need to. We're kneeling. Find Purkanasa, half tortoise position. Spine is nice and straight, hands to prayer. If you know you need a little gap between the knees, please feel free to make one. Inhale, sweeping arms wide and high, lift through the plants, tummy strong. Fold forward, bring the hands down earlier if you need to, or if you can, hold above the mat there for a moment, and let the hands and the elbows and the forehead find the mat in front of you. As the hips soften back and down towards the heels, we get a beautiful stretch through the whole. And breathe. Make sure you're somewhere you can really release the head into the ground. If it's not finding the floor, you can use your hands as support if you need to. Work hard, well over an hour. Now for these last 10 minutes, we want to shift our body from the sympathetic nervous system that runs on adrenaline and go, to the parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and recovery phase, where the body has a chance to process where it's been today, to heal, to regenerate, and the mind has a chance to really soften and find some stillness and peace. Just observe the breath moving through the body. Notice where in the body you feel on the inhalation, and where you can let go of any more tension on the exhalation. Releasing and softening as you let go of it. And you feel your body lengthening through the lower back. There's a bit of traction in the lower back with the hips. Soften the gravity down towards the heels. Release into the knees and the ankles, and the front of the hips, and the back of the hips, and the shoulders, and the neck. And when you're ready, with a deep, smooth wave of inhalation, breathing your way back up, lengthening through for a moment, and release those arms as we come into a spine twist. You may find you just want to settle over to one side, or you might like to start from both legs out in front of you. We'll take one foot up next to the opposite hip, foot over the top of that knee. We'll both sit bones rooted to the ground, spine lengthened, as we turn the torso towards that raised thumb. If that's too much in either hips or knees, then leave the bottom leg straight out in front of you. Lengthening on the inhalation, rotating on the exhalation. 3 breaths, lift the balance. In and up. 2, shoulders back and down, soften into where you're feeling the pressure. 1 more, squeeze with the tummy, squeezing the blood out of those internal organs, and releasing back to centre. There we go for the other side. Again, leave that leg straight out in front of you if you need. Or up next to the opposite hip. Make sure it's not under the hip, beside it. Find your edge, lengthen on the inhalations, and rotate on the exhalations. The lengthens, come up and over. See if you can get the whole foot flat down to the ground. You can hug the knee to you, you can have a hand on the other side of the knee, whatever works best for you. Lengthen on the inhalation, rotate on the exhalation. Just 2. Tummy drawn in and up, squeeze the blood out of those internal organs. For 1, soft shoulders, long neck, and releasing back to centre. And all that beautifully oxygenated blood rushes back in. And then as we are no longer together, we can do our final breathing exercise. So Have a good cough. If you need to, stretch the face. Take a deep wave of inhale. Hold the breath for a moment and then all together exhaling now. Feel the tummy up, pulling into the spine, firing the breath out of the body. 3 and 2 and 1 and release. And sometimes that makes us feel a little bit giddy, but don't worry at all because we're just going to lie down on the floor now for Savasana. If you like, you can take a stiff Savasana for a moment. One last deep pound breath, every muscle in the body tense and taut, scrunched buttocks, pointed toes, fists to the floor, shoulders down, and most importantly, let it all go. Spread your feet wider than your hips. Let them flop open away from each other. Your arms, palms facing up, fingers curling naturally. Jaw soft. Now let go of the breath. And let go of the whole body. Feel the back and the shoulders soft and heavy into the ground. And the back of the hips sink a little more heavily into the floor. Notice where the heels rest on the ground. And allow the weight of the head to rest a little more heavily on the earth. Feel how the neck and shoulders can soften as it does. Eyes are soft. Jaw relaxed. As you feel the habitual tensions of your face gradually melting away. And as you let go, layer after layer after layer. Eventually, as the body becomes heavier, ever heavier, so the spirit becomes lighter. Here in this beautiful stillness, you can embrace the magical mystery that is you. Time and inclination today, feel free to stay longer in Savasana. If you wish and if you're ready to come round nice and slowly, starting with a little wiggling in the fingers and the toes. A deepening of your breath. As you inhale, draw your feet back together and your arms above the head. Exhale out into an awakening stretch through. And drawing your knees towards your chest, hugging them to you for a moment. Relax gently over onto your right hand side. Soft and heavy for a moment.